This video is intended for adult collectors or adults who want a nostalgia fix, not for kids. Although children may appear in this video, they are in it for review purposes only. If you are a child, please make sure to get your parents' permission before watching and make them watch it with you.
Last week, I unboxed and reviewed the 1985 Series 2 release of the Superpowers collection, Aquaman, by Kenner. If you haven't watched it, you might want to stop, click on that link to that video, as I will be comparing it to today's action figure. ¿Qué onda? This is Hector Canales, and this is the 1990 DC Comics Super Heroes Aquaman by ToyBiz. And this is going to be the first ever retro underwater unboxing review. Looking at the front of the packaging, although ToyBiz chose to use gold as their primary color, all the colors look very subdued, and I don't think they mesh very well. But the figure is displayed very nicely with its accessories. Now, looking at the back of the packaging, again, these colors are very subdued, and I don't know, it's supposed to be advertising these other figures, but this does not really sell it to me. Now, the instructions on how to use his fin kick action and the small little bio explaining his armor, his trident, and how he does his superhero stuff down in the ocean, that's actually pretty cool. Not to bring this packaging down even further, but it really does not compare to how great the Superpowers packaging was. Not to be beating a dead seahorse here, but the bubble. ToyBiz, they usually did an awful job on sealing the bubble to the card back. This bubble is already coming off, so unboxing it, well, it's gonna be very easy. Let's get to it.
Let's go.
I do love smelling my retro figures after I've unboxed them, especially because it really draws me back to being a kid. But being underwater, this is gonna be impossible. He does look pretty cool though. But before we take a closer look at the figure, let's take a closer look at his accessories. First off is the little seahorse. On the packaging, he's purple and big, but we get a small little red seahorse. The sculpting is great, but what is it that we're gonna do with this guy? Let's see. Does he float in the water? No. Does he do anything in the water? No. Did he have to come in the packaging? No. After that disappointment, let's take a look at Aquaman's other accessory, the trident. It's made out of simple yellow plastic, but the molding is very nice. It's simple, but it's effective. Sometimes less is more. So out of both accessories, I'm glad they got the trident right. Now let's focus in on the action figure, and starting off, let's look at its articulation. He's got articulation at the head, some articulation at the arms, and his legs don't really have any articulation except for his knees because of the lever on the back for his fin kick action. Now that we looked at his accessories and the figure, let's put the trident in his hand and play with him and see just how much fun this figure actually is. No lie, but the fin kick action is a lot of fun and actually did feel like he was swimming for us. Let's see if he does it by himself. No. Now, I'm gonna get to the easiest part of the review, but also the most controversial. You see, I posted this picture on a couple of Facebook groups dedicated to the Superpowers, and the ToyBiz figures received so much heat, and rightly so. Some commented on how easy they broke, the paint job was off, how their power action was pretty lame, and plain and simple, how awful and inferior they looked standing next to the real Superpowers by Kenner. I've unboxed, reviewed, and compared a few ToyBiz figures to the superpowers and found that most seem to be crudely molded out of the Kenner figures, like cheap knockoff figures. Let's take a closer look and see if that's the case here. Starting from top to bottom, there is no comparison. The ToyBiz Aquaman looks like he's wearing an Aquaman costume, whereas the Superpowers Aquaman looks like he is Aquaman. Look at that face. He looks more like the Michael Myers mask. His upper body, he looks pretty bulky. Again, like he's wearing some sort of Aquaman costume. The greens is very subdued. Now looking at the back, there's the lever for his action that, you know, during playtime, it could get in the way. Now let's compare the tridents. My preference is the Superpowers trident. The ToyBiz trident ain't that bad. It's more of your preference of color. And underwater, yeah, the trident for the ToyBiz one is more visible. Now let's compare the superpower action. Now the Kenner Aquaman doesn't really work underwater, but the ToyBiz, it works beautifully. It's fantastic. Yes, the Kenner Aquaman looks wonderful underwater, but his action just doesn't work so well. He does still look real cool. Unlike its real cool looking Superpowers counterpart, this ToyBiz Aquaman, he kicks really cool outside of the water. And after all the fun I had with this ToyBiz Aquaman figure, I was about to choose this one on playability alone as my favorite Aquaman figure. Until a few days later when I got home, the screws holding this piece of crap started rusting. Look at this. This is disgusting. Your toy shouldn't rust. All in all, rust and the horrible aesthetic, I'll still give this figure a 4 out of 10. At least ToyBiz had improved from their Series 1, where all they did is just clones from the Superpowers. Although the Trident is a plus, it still can't save this figure from being a shipwreck. Thanks for joining me on this retro unboxing review of the ToyBiz Aquaman from 1991. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
Good job, Daddy. Wait, catch your breath, catch your breath.
Boy, this figure's hard to put stupid thing on me.